Hey everybody, I'm TheFish.
And I'm Buca.
And we've got a pretty awesome game for you guys coming up today. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit longer than the last games we were just casting.
Yeah, we say it's awesome, but we're only hoping because we haven't actually watched these yet. But this was high rated, so we're assuming it's going to be really good.
Awesome.
Our yellow Terran player in the top left will be Empire Happy. It's a little confusing because there's two players named Happy. This would be the Russian one who distinguished himself as an undead Warcraft 3 player. He's been on a number of prestigious teams, most notably Evil Geniuses, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has to show us today.
Absolutely. And our Zerg player spawning on the right side of the map is going to be Nerchio. Nerchio is a Polish player. He's very young, about 19 years old, and Nerchio is notable because he has a very creative playstyle. He can play any of the races, and in fact he used to play random. And in tournaments he would actually use that to his advantage, where he would pick a different race just to exploit some feature of the map or some weakness in his opponent's build. So he's a very creative player and excited to be watching him play today.
Okay, and soon enough we should be starting to see what type of strategy our players are going with. Here we go, Happy's throwing down a barracks.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty standard so far. We're not seeing any crazy 6 pools come out,
which is a bit of relief.
And it looks like Nerchio may be going for a fast expand here at about 15, and that's pretty good timing for the hatchery if you're a Zerg player out there.
We'll give him a good economic boost as long as he can defend in the early game. It doesn't look like Happy's going to be super aggressive, though I suppose we can't be completely sure of that yet.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like his second rack is coming down, so he's going to be playing conservatively. Might be going for a second command center very early on.
Well, if he doesn't apply any pressure, that is going to favor the Zerg, so Nerchio's putting himself in a good position.
Absolutely, it already looks like he's in a good position. And we do see one gas come down for Happy, and I think that indicates that he'll be going for some kind of tech path other than barracks. Now, the problem is both of us, we play Zerg, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. We are both Zerg players, so we might have a much better understanding of what is happening for Nerchio right here than for Happy.
Yeah, and what Nerchio did here is he put down his hatchery first, and then at about 16 he started working on spawning pool and extractor, and that's good timing. What this allows you to do is it allows you to get a couple wings out if you need to. Looks like he might be able to. He might be needing to.
Yeah, because we do have an attempted bunker rush, but it doesn't look like it's going very well for Happy.
Nerchio is all over this. His SCV's at pretty low health. Now the Marines are coming in, but this bunker's not getting built. We don't see any Zerglings coming out, but
well, he just queued up 4. Hopefully they'll get out before too much damage is done here. It does look like he's doing a decent job of holding this off, and if he can hold this off, he should be in a good position.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be in a very good position, and you can defend this with just a few drones. There's no reason to pull all your drones off the line to defend this kind of attack.
Here we go. Let's see if he can get these guys down before the bunker goes up. Uh-oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's bad news for Nerchio, and I thought he was going to be able to get those guys killed before the bunker went down, but he can probably start DPSing on this hatchery if he gets another bunker up closer to the hatch. I would have think that he would try to build this closer, but...
Well, I suppose with the creep there, he wasn't able to get a...
The creep is in the way. Now, what you want to do if you're Nerchio is you don't want to just start creating a lot of Zerglings. They're just going to get killed by the Marines in the bunker. You actually want to make spine crawlers.
Which is exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah, so I think this is just the proper response, even though he is in kind of a bad spot.
I think his Zerglings are running around trying to stop reinforcements from coming in too. So, oh no, that's a drone. I guess he's just scouting. Yeah. But no, yeah, he's trying to see what's coming. Ooh, Hellions. That could be very bad for Nerchio because well, I mean, when it comes to the spine crawlers, it won't matter, but it seems like his only offensive units right now are Zerglings and this very belabored Queen.
Yeah, and drones, of course, can get roasted away pretty quickly by this thing.
Oh yeah, once a Hellion gets in the mineral line, it's a problem.
Yeah, the Queen just went down, and that's kind of
a big deal. Uh-oh.
Hellions coming in here.
Can he get the... Why? Oh, those workers should not be going towards the Hellions.
Yeah, a little bit of mismicro there by Nerchio, but now the Zerglings are all over this Hellion, and it looks like he's going to be able to escape here. Salvaging the bunker, not in time, but he still has his Hellions on the front door of Nerchio, so Nerchio not out of this just yet.
Yeah, he finally managed to hold off the bunker rush, but at what cost?
He did lose a Queen there, and that's not something you want to do in the early games.
Especially, I mean, he didn't even have a chance to connect his expansion to his main yet, so Losing that queen is really going to hold it back.
Well, he's about 3 drones ahead, so he's not doing too terribly here, and of course he's on 2 bases, whereas Empire Happy is only on 1 now.
Uh-oh. Hellions coming in at the... Oh,
worst
wow.
possible time, but they're being warded off.
He did manage to hold that off, but they were coming in right as the crawlers were, and that crawler is very low on HP. If only he had a queen to transfuse it.
It is indeed.
And it looks like Happy is getting ready to expand here. He's already got an orbital command, so once he does this, if Nerchio can't get a 3rd expansion up, Happy will be way ahead in terms of economy. Yeah,
don't let the Harvester count fool you too much. Once those mules start dropping, the Terran player can get very ahead very quickly. So even though Nerchio does look to be in a pretty good spot right now, Happy could easily come back from this kind of a setback.
And let's see what's going on over here. What's he building? A Roach Warren? Okay. I do think he's going to need higher tech soon to deal with the mech that's coming out of Happy. I mean,
yeah, and it does look like he has 2 Roach Warrens coming out here, so what could that possibly
2
be?
Roach Warrens?
Well, I mean, he could be trying to go for some kind of a double, like a double Roach thing. This could be a mistake. One thing that's I've seen some players try to do with 2 Roach Warrens is get both upgrades
at the same time. That's the only logical reason I can think of to have 2.
Yeah, so unless this was some kind of mistake, I'm sure that he may be going for some kind of a Roach strategy with Burrow movement, possibly.
And to be fair, I do think that is a good idea, because, well, for instance, you were talking about the mules before.
Yeah.
One way you want to hurt the Terran economy is to prevent them from using mules, and the way you can do that is by forcing them to waste their energy on scans and stuff like that. So if you have burrowed roaches attacking their mineral lines, they're going to have to be scanning all the time, and that way they can't drop as many mules. So that could be a good strategy, but we do see tanks over here, and I think tanks tend to do fairly well against roaches.
Yeah, and Terrans can be kind of impervious to this burrow movement thing. With the one scan can just ruin your day, ruin your roaches' lives, in fact.
So I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the strategy, but we'll see how it works for him.
Right, it's a bit unconventional.
Looks like Happy is already aware of Nerchio's attempts to get a new expansion, so in terms of intelligence as well, Happy is really on top of the game. He's already preparing for another expansion.
Absolutely. He's now getting pretty well bunkered down here, something that Terran players have no trouble doing. And he's trying to get this Hellion down, but they're just plaguing him. Now they're going to get trapped. Now
They are going to get a
Yeah, it's really hard to really lose Hellions and waste them completely, but, you know, if you get them up against Zerglings or drones, they're going to do some damage, just a matter of how much, and will they take themselves.
And Happy's expansion is very well defended here, it looks like.
Yeah, he's not going to be sitting this well this way. Really good building placement by him. I like that. So he should have no trouble defending against some pretty kind of early attacks, and I think that's what we're going to see right now from Nerchio. Looks like he's moving out here to try and do some kind of attack.
Yeah, I don't really think this is thought out enough, though. I don't think a bunch of roaches and zerglings are going to make a huge difference. We do see an infestor pit going down.
Now, that could just be him leaving his options open for the future. Now we see Loyal Reconstitution and Carapace coming down, but really no upgrades on these roaches yet, and I thought he was going for some kind of timing attack, checking to see if there's a 3rd base. Well, maybe he's just going to be poking, prodding, taking map control.
And this is interesting. He started to upgrade the melee attack rather than projectile attack, so that implies that he's going to be focusing more on, you know, zerglings, maybe ultras in the future, or banelings. We don't see any baneling nest, though, so...
Yeah, absolutely, and well, that's kind of a good thing if you have this kind of composition of lings and roaches. That +1 claw damage does a lot. It really does a lot for these Zerglings.
That's true.
They do take down Marines much more quickly. They take out siege tanks very easily. So, you know, it's a good upgrade to get in the early game. And now we're starting to head towards the mid game right here. And the 3rd hatchery now finishing for Nerchio, so he's going to be on 3 working on 4 bases against a 3-base Terran. So we could have some pretty awesome cataclysmic battles here, but I don't know, are these roaches really where Nerchio wants to be at this point?
Yeah, I don't think so, though we do see the upgrade for the infestor coming in. What's that called? Pathogen glands. And infestors, I think, do tend to be good in ZBT, so...
Absolutely, gotta take those packs of Marines out.
Yeah, fungal growth to take the packs of Marines out. Ooh, nice scout there. Little Viking scout getting away completely.
Yeah, really good timing. You can really tell these players know when things are going to be coming. Not only what could be coming, but when. So.
And he's seeing this creep highway, so he probably isn't too happy about that. But oh, and we see 5 infestors coming out. This is good, because then if he upgrades to Neural Parasite as well, then he can use that to turn the siege tanks against the Terran player, and that can really change the strategy. I'm glad that he's doing this. I mean, you know, Infestor Ling is a very popular build. Ooh, he's found that new expansion over here.
Happy's gonna have a very good idea of what's going on here. That wall is looking bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's one hell of a wall.
Well, this is a tough position to break if you're using roaches to try and just. They're gonna get jammed up in here. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and he does have detection with those missile turrets, so it'll be a problem. He is pumping out a lot of Zerglings now, though. We see 36 Zerglings coming out, and that infestors and Zerglings tend to make very good allies, so that does make sense to me. And now we're seeing why he upgraded these melee attack things rather than projectiles.
It was all for a reason. He's just not just randomly pressing buttons here. These guys are good.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a plan. I mean, he is also building a spire now, too, so he's got a transition planned, which I think is a good move. Spire will allow him to have map control. The thing is, Zerglings also give you a good amount of map control, which we don't see him using so much. And that's problematic, but I suppose Happy is kind of trapped in his base right now. He's walled off, and he isn't really exploring so much. He's just mining and teching up. He is building some ghosts. Ooh, I wonder if
ghosts are good against infestors if you're able to get some EMPs or snipes down
on
them.
Yeah.
Can be very micro-intensive, can be very tough to do, but these guys are at a very high level of play, and there's a lot of Zerglings, man. I think he's going to be waiting for these 2 upgrades to finish and then thinking about moving out here.
I think so.
So drop coming down for Happy.
He did take out a queen, which is a big deal.
He did take out the queen. The spine crawler also got one of those marines, though.
This is that expansion is very isolated too, so it's not going to be easy for him to he can't just walk another queen over. There's not a good creep spread for that, so he's going to have to rebuild one or something, and it definitely is going to hurt him. Oh, we've got another drop going in.
It is a real pain, and when you're trapped in your base like this as a Terran, you can do stuff like this. Don't be afraid to go out and do stuff. If you're Protoss, the same thing. I mean, get one of those White Raw units and start poking and prodding at your opponent's common agents. You can do a lot of damage.
Oh no.
It looks like that hatchery's going to get killed off.
Yeah, he didn't actually get the cancel on that, did he?
No, he did not. So that's going to hurt a little bit, but still, he did zone 4 bases. They're all fully saturated at this point, so.
And now he has his hive up, so he's going for a greater spire, which also makes it understandable why he got the melee attack upgrade. Is he getting a greater spire and a separate spire, so he can do double upgrades?
Absolutely. He does seem to be favoring this kind of 2 building play, where he's got 1 here and 1 here, 2 roach runs. Now we see 2 spires. So that's I don't know how I feel about that, but it does make sense. Your opponents are going to be building a lot of buildings. If you're a Zerg, you know, Zergs tend to not have a lot of buildings.
Yeah. I do feel that it may have been a bit wasteful with the Roach Warren, but with the Spire, it makes more sense. Again, Spires are very expensive, so that is a huge investment.
It is a big
But
investment.
he's getting 9 Broodlords out now. He's going to have a lot of upgrades on the Broodlings already. So we'll see how this works out for him. I mean, he is going up against a primarily marine and tank army.
There's a lot of tanks.
And those are a lot of ghosts too, actually. Wow. Those ghosts could really wreak havoc on his infestors. The marines actually, it may have been better off for him to have gone with banelings earlier to deal with all these marines.
But here we go. Nerchio's going to be moving in for an attack here. Only going down right on the ghost. So that's a pretty big thing. EMP's going down on the infestors.
Ooh, the infestors are getting gobbled up, but Broodlord's coming in just a bit too late. Unfortunately, if those marines get under the Broodlords, it's going to be a huge problem, but they are doing well against the tanks. Wow, okay.
Ghosts are all still up, though, and ghosts are pretty good against Broodlords. They can pretty much just snipe them out of the sky.
And remember, these medevacs are going to make things much nicer for Happy, whereas Nerchio doesn't have any queens out there healing his infestors or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Those medevacs are a big help, man, in engagements like this. It looks like, here we go again. Zerglings rushing in. There's a ton of Zerglings coming in. They're going to get a nice surround on these units. Will be enough to take them all out.
Unfortunately, they don't have the adrenal glands upgrade, so their attack speed isn't quite as fast as it could be, but wow, this is quite an engagement right here. It does look like the Zerg is going to be able to overcome this force.
Yeah, just barely. And
but just barely.
Are still up, so...
But these Broodlords have not taken a lot of damage, and they are key right now. They are critical.
Keeping those alive is going to be huge for Nerchio, although he did lose a ton of Infestors in that engagement.
He did lose a lot of Infestors. He's making more, but unfortunately they will take time to build up energy. Fortunately, he did get the Pathogen's Gland upgrade. But once this Adrenal Glands upgrade kicks in and his third melee upgrade kicks in, those Zerglings are going to be a lot more valuable.
Scary, man. And we see a lot of players neglect the Adrenal Glands upgrade. It is pretty expensive, but I do like this decision by Nerchio. You get a pretty good composition.
Isn't it like 20% increase in attack speed?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
that's something.
20% DPS thing. And when you think about Zerglings, you think that you want to be able to actually get them to do some attacks before they get killed, because they're probably going to get killed.
So the faster they attack, the more attacks they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're basically getting 20% more Zerglings.
He is kind of just throwing them at this planetary fortress, which is interesting. He did manage to cause a lot of damage there, but I'm not sure it was worth it, especially not now with all of these units coming in to reinforce. Ooh, no. I think this may have been a poor engagement for Nerchio.
Yeah, he did lose a lot of units there, but he should be able to max out again pretty quickly.
Yeah, he already has 34 more Zerglings coming up, 6 Infestors on the way.
Well, we've got a 4-base Terran now at this point. I'd say pretty much they're mined out of their main base. And, well, it's a pretty big macro game going on here, Buca.
Yeah, you know, Nerchio is trying so hard to deal with this Terran defense and incredible army, but I feel like he's not making as much use as he could of the Zerg's mobility.
Yeah.
And you see, like, in that engagement, you know, he just lost a lot of units and didn't accomplish as much as he could have.
Yeah, he really just kind of ran right at this pack of units, and it was tough. He could have done some kind of a flank move. He could have tried to get a better surround.
Well, something that I would really like to see right now, in part because of how spread out Happy is going to have to be to defend all of his bases, and because of Nerchio's kind of more distant expansions, would be Nidus Worms. Yeah. I think Nidus Worms could really change the way this game is going right now.
I do like creative playstyles, and we're seeing pretty standard out of Nerchio, although I do like his unit composition.
Yes.
He hasn't gotten the best engages right now, and if you guys can't tell, we typically tend to root for the Zerg, being Zerg ourselves.
Yeah, we're a little biased here, I guess.
Yeah, a little biased.
A little Starcraft racism.
So one medic moving out. He's probably going to be heading for that 5th base. And will Nerchio spot this? Looks like he will, so probably just have a few Zerglings go down to meet these units.
I mean, it looks like he's planning on building another one, but Happy's right there to see it.
So we have our players re-macroing up and trying to do some poking and prodding.
Are they going to get up on that ledge and take out, like, the extractors?
High ground abuse, and uh-oh, some Corruptors could have just nailed this medevac.
Yeah, they could have really taken that out right there, but... Okay, I don't think that drop's going to go very well for an Happy.
Marines, you've been sacrificed to the Overlord God.
I think Happy's just trying to, like, clean out his supply. Like, he was at max and now he's at 190, so maybe he was just trying to make new room for ghosts.
Well, he was just trying to make more ghosts. He was missing one ghost in his composition. He didn't have enough, so he just wanted to get that one more ghost.
That one ghost will be critical in the upcoming engagement. So. But yeah, I do think... Ooh, okay, that is interesting. Seems to be... Well, see, these medevacs are really doing work for Happy.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Happy's army is in general more mobile than Nerchio's, because aside from the Zerglings, you know, Infestors and... Oh, nice EMP there. Infestors and Broodlords are not very mobile. So, Zerglings are very mobile, but I feel like if he had had Nidus Worms, he might have better methods of attack by making this army more maneuverable. Granted, it wouldn't help the Broodlords, but...
Wow, that is a ton of ghosts. And... It was pretty good against Infestors and Broodlords.
Nerchio laughing at himself a little bit there.
Yeah, but it's like, what can you do at this point? I think mass Zerglings is not a terrible idea. If you want to do something like that, you need more hatcheries, you need more queens, though, than what he's got.
Yeah. And it would also be nice to have creep connecting those expansions that are further away. He does have a lot of expansions, but... I mean, this Terran army is immense. With all those ghosts, Infestor's army is going to really be that helpful.
Cloaking now.
And he took out the Overseer, so this is not going to go well. So I think Nerchio rather should pull out. But
get out of there, Nerchio!
It doesn't look like he's going to use that choice.
So wow, mass ghosts. The
So,
strategy of
again, we
ghosts.
see 42 Zerglings coming in, but I don't see them doing anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nerchio seems to agree. He leaves without a GG.
Grats from Nerchio there, and well, I mean that was just kind of a
Oh, well,
rock paper scissors match
I suppose
at the end.
Gratz is a GG. Never mind. There is a GG. I completely lied, but
It's manner.
yeah. But see, this is the thing, is that oftentimes we see, like Nerchio said, I think that's the most balanced matchup. Do you think that was sarcasm there, or?
Well, there might have been a little bit of sarcasm there, and I gotta say, he could have done something else. He could have done something different.
That's what I think. I don't think this is an example of imbalance. I think that there are certain aspects of the Zerg race that he wasn't making use of. That, like, Nidus Worms, or maybe getting Overlord speed and drop or something, like, just being able to, because when you're just trying to fight Terrans head on and just crash into their walls and their giant armies, it's never going to go well for you. I mean, you can try to sort of pinch them, come in from multiple sides, but it's always nice to have that extra mobility that you could get from, like, either Overlord drops or a Nidus network or something.
Absolutely. So, Buca, I got a little joke for you before we end this game.
Mm-hmm.
How do you beat a Zerg player?
Ow.
Trick them into building Hydralisks. And with that, we're out of here.